The Golden State Warriors lost the other night to the Pelicans in a humiliating loss, 141 to 105. I believe this was the worst loss on the Warriors' home court in the whole entire Steph Curry era since he's been there. So this was a big deal for the Warriors and their fans. I would say their pride took a huge beating last night. Also, I believe this is reality setting in where these guys have been delusional for a while. I think Lacob's statement several years ago, we're light years ahead of the league, really sums up their hubris and arrogance. But I think what Steph Curry said after the game really shows that they're starting to see reality of their situation right now. So here's what he said. We have a standard that's pretty evident that if things stay the same, that's the definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So to me, this is Steph Curry saying subtly, but he's basically saying this that they need to make trades, they need to make a big move. They really need to make a move right now to be a contender again and to be relevant again. So I think it's going to be very hard for the Warriors to make moves to be a title contender again. I just don't see it. Bearing they get another legit star, but I don't see anyone that's available out there on the market. Just that they could trade for. They need to trade for a guy that can equal what Klay Thompson once was able to do with the Warriors. And I just don't see that guy available. I don't see any team that has that guy that they could trade for in that scenario. Like I look at the league and just it seems like all the stars are taken right now. Perhaps they could do a trade with the Bulls, just because I know the Bulls want to get rid of Zach LaVine. So they could try getting Zach LaVine, but I don't think he's a legit star. I think he's really an empty stat player. That's a move that they can make. I think possibly that you trade Clay, you trade a few other contracts for him, maybe a draft pick, and I believe Chicago would be willing to do it. But that's really the type of player that's available for them right now. Maybe they'll trade for another fringe star player like DeMar DeRozan, who's also with the Bulls. So that's a possibility. But if you look around the league closely, there's not really many stars available, and those guys are not legit stars in my eyes. You have just a bunch of fringe players that are available. You look at the Cavs, possibly you get Donovan Mitchell. That's a possibility. But then again, I don't think he helps them. I think a Steph, Donovan Mitchell backcourt would be too undersized. I know the Hawks are trying to get rid of DeJounte Murray, and that's still also an issue, and they would be undersized. So you look around the league, there's really no big move they can make to get another star in there. They can get some good role players. They can get a fringe star or two, but that's really it. Heck, they should try to trade Draymond for Jordan Poole. That would be hysterical, but yeah, swap him. Like that was a colossal error just to keep Draymond over him. Grant Poole has been horrible with the Wizards, but I still think they would have been better off keeping Poole over Draymond. Now that's something that has really cost them big time. But they're stuck in a terrible situation. And I can't say I feel bad for them. They were a very arrogant organization. They just thought the good times would keep coming forever and that they could be complacent. They also just rewarded bad behavior in Draymond. They had no accountability. And that's the thing in life. Once accountability goes away, then everything else around you will rot away. I really do believe that. And they didn't hold Draymond accountable. And I think that's a huge reason why this whole entire team has fell apart in disarray. You see Wiggins having one of his worst seasons in years. I think he's only averaging 11 points. I also believe this team just doesn't believe anymore. These players are just playing for a check, and that's it. But I think that stems back from how they handled Draymond. And once they lost that accountability, those guys just said, to hell with that. I don't want to try anymore. But I also believe a huge reason for their downfall was Klay Thompson. Just he never could become the same player he once was after those injuries. I think that winning 2022 kind of masked Klay's decline. They were just very fortunate. They lucked out to a large degree. They got to play a bunch of inexperienced teams who didn't know how to close a deal against them. So they were able to fluke their way to that one title. And I think it tricked a lot of people that they were fine when they really weren't. So now they're seeing the real deal, that they're not legit anymore. And I don't see them ever winning another title again in the Curry era. I just don't see it. Steph is pretty much going to be a lifer there. I don't think he's going to force his way out of there, but he's going to be like Kobe during Kobe's final years with the Lakers. That is just going to be consistently losing. And if they do get into the playoffs, they're going to be a low seed, somewhere between 7 or 8, and they won't do anything. So they're just not a factor anymore. As one of my favorite phrases go, they're non-motherfucking factor. So that's all I have to say about this.